And that moves us on to Seattle. Over under, Brad, 8.5 wins.
Wow, you know what? That must be their lowest over under total in the past
Returning
10 years.
Playoff team. They were a playoff team last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to offer an opinion, but I don't feel like I'm qualified until I understand where that line comes from.
I have no. I truly, I don't know. I don't know.
Did they lose people? I mean, did they pay Russell and now other people have gone? Is it just that defense has just kind of come down from where it was 4 years ago?
I think that's it. I think, last year we saw the rebuilding defense, but the thing is, we saw the rebuilding defense last year and they made the playoffs.
Right.
So I know they have a tough schedule, but you still got Russell Wilson back there, quarterback. You
got Russell Wilson,
Chris Carson, who I like more. You got Rashad Penny at running back, who other people kind of hype up. I think Chris Carson's still the guy, but it's a Schottenheimer offense. They're going to be able to run the ball, and we saw it last year. They're going to be able to run the ball. The question mark, I think, is receiver. You got Tyler Lockett. They got the rookie DK Metcalf. You got David Moore back there. That's the big question. And then, of course, at tight end, too, you only have like Nick Van Nett and Will Dissly. But these were the same group that they had last year. It's like the perpetual Seattle just doesn't have receivers kind of thing. Doug Baldwin's not there anymore, but 8.5 is low to me.
All right, well, I think it might be based on schedule because just looking at it first, they open with the Bengals. Okay, so you'd have to assume that's a win. Mm-hmm. And then they have Steelers, Saints, Rams, Browns, Ravens, Falcons.
Tough schedule.
It is tough. 49ers, obviously, because of the division. The Eagles, the Vikings, Rams again, Panthers. I mean, you'd have to. The easiest games they have on their schedule are the 2 games against the Cardinals and that first game against Cincinnati.
And I don't even think that game against Cincinnati is a gimme.
Okay, right, and that's not a gimme. And either are beating the Cardinals twice because you know about division games.
Yeah.
I think that it must be scheduled, man. I really do. Maybe their easiest one is Tampa at Seattle.
Yeah. Man, that's a tough division. Look, San Francisco and Seattle cannot both go over 8.5, I think.
Correct.
So one of these has to be on the under. Based on what I saw from the receivers and the offensive capability, I'm going to go, and Brad, you and I were both high on San Francisco before Garoppolo got injured. I think we called them as a playoff dark horse, so I'm going to double down this season. I'm going to say San Francisco finishes 9-7. And I'm going to say Seattle finishes 8-8, which is just, I can't believe I'm saying. I got to go under just because not everybody in this team can go 11-5, especially with that schedule.
Well, let me just say this, Sean, is Breeze, Aaron Rodgers, maybe even Phillip Rivers, Patrick Mahomes, those are guys that make their teams better, right? So you'd have to assume that they're going to go to the playoffs and make their teams better. And so is Russell Wilson, but maybe not as much as those other guys, right? Maybe Russell needs just like a fraction more help than those guys.
Yeah. Look,
possibly,
man,
I'm just putting it in the air, and now maybe the roster, it's all well and good when you have a crazy defense, and now maybe it's just average. And
it's tough, man. It is tough. So I think so we're going to talk AFC West next week, and then I think we're going to have 2 episodes to make our playoff predictions. One per each conference. And of course, we'll keep talking about the state of the NFL. There's just going to be news piece after news piece. So I think this episode ended up being a little bit over an hour, if I'm not mistaken, today. A little under, but it's. Look, man, things are heating up. So check us back out next week. I'm going to have more. Oh, and another thing, let me just say this. I wanted to get to it, but I didn't, so I'm going to have to probably move some of this fantasy football chat over to Functional Sportsaholic this week. Alexander Madison out of Minnesota looks to me like a star. We were talking about, Brad, about how like a running back can look like like he's going to get 5 yards a carry in the NFL when he's coming out of college, but you never really know until you get into NFL game action. Madison looked like a beast, and I know he's behind Dalvin Cook in the depth chart there, but Dalvin Cook has had an injury past. There's a lot of good stuff, man. I can't wait to actually start talking a little bit more about the games and the matchups and stuff when we get into the season. But we got one more preview to go, and we'll keep everybody up to speed on all the things going on. So, hey, Brad, you got anything else for the audience?
No, sir, but I just wish you luck with all the preseason viewing, my man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This week will be a lot more interesting because the starters will actually be playing in week 2, so that'll be nice. All right. Hey, everybody out there, go out, make some bets, and get paid.